welcome to the Opinions That Change podcast. I'm Ashlyn, and I'm joined once again by my husband. This episode, it's going to be a doozy. Alright, so we're going to talk about our financial downfall. What do you want to call it?
Our growing experience.
Our growing experience. So, in the end of 2022, back up. In 2022, neither of us, we were a little oblivious to our financial situation. And then at one point, Waylon sat down, kind of went through it, and then called me, and we discovered we were in $135,000 in debt. No, we did not have nice cars. And no, we did not have a mortgage. That was credit cards, loans, business loans, whatever. All the things. And that was I feel like our rock bottom moment. And I feel like rock bottom is different for everybody. It hits everybody different at different times and in different ways. But that was ours. And it really lit a fire under us to change. And so we're going to talk about how we got out of $135,000 of debt in less than 2 years. Mm-hmm. So that's what this episode is all about. So I hope you stick around and buckle up for this wild ride.
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to start off by talking first about back when Waylon very first started his business. So we were living in Spokane, Washington.
I had just graduated from college in 2019. We moved to Spokane in 2019. I got a job with a disaster restoration company through 2020. And then
in the middle of COVID, he decides this is the time to quit everything and start a business.
So I was doing it on the side, and it was going really well. And so I decided to go full send, and so we did it.
So in September of 2020, he quit his job, started his business, and then about a month later, I found out I was pregnant with twins. Mm-hmm. And we were like, cool, you just quit your job, you started a business, we're about to have 4 kids on the age of 4, but it's fine. I grew up with a very entrepreneurial dad. I very much understood what this was, and I was fine with it. So anyways, he kept going with his business. He was building it. It was going really well.
At first it was going really well. I was doing handyman stuff on the side. It was just me, and I felt like it started out going really well. Yeah. Right.
And then we took a trip to Utah in December, and we were like, well, actually, what happened was my sister told my mom, don't you want to live by your grandkids? And I was like, excuse me, she lives by me. She does live by her grandkids. But then my mom was like, I think we might move to Utah. Or maybe we should move to Utah or something, like to my dad. And I was like, whoa. And then Waylon was like, I ain't living here if nobody else lives here. He doesn't like Spokane.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at. The only reason why I was okay living there is because there was family in the area. And so I definitely was more prone to move to Utah. And
I grew up there. I just have a soft spot in my heart for Spokane. I love it so much. But, I mean, the fact that my parents were thinking about moving, we just decided, well, we'll move first then.
We sure did, too.
And so I was still like, I'm not moving to Utah. And then one night, I don't know, something hit me that I needed to move to Utah. And we moved about 2 weeks later.
Really quick.
We started looking on Facebook. And mind you, we weren't just moving. We were also, he would have to restart his business down in Utah. So, but for some reason, we found this place online. And the lady was the nicest lady I've ever met on planet Earth, and she saved this townhome for us because she was like, I just feel like this is what, like, I need you guys in this place. She waited a whole month to have us move in, and
crazy. It worked out very well.
Yeah, Waylon went down there a couple weeks before I did, and then I came down with the kids because I had photo shoots and things I needed to finish.
And I wanted to kickstart my business up in Utah. I mean, at the time I had just quit my job. We were strapped for money. I was working, so I wanted to get down there and start making money. So, so I went down to Utah, and I was just working like a madman.
Yeah.
Just building my client base, and I actually built it really quick in Utah. I was actually get a lot of jobs really quickly. And then, 2 weeks later, you came down and joined us.
Yeah, so we moved down. He keeps doing his business, going great. He's getting great reviews because he's perfect at what he does. He's getting all this stuff. Everything's going amazing. And then he ends up deciding that he wants to take on bigger jobs, so he hires my dad. And then a little bit later, he hired his brother, and they start working for him. And everything's going great, right? And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, he just keeps getting more and more basements to do. They're working really hard. He's gone from like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Keep in mind, we didn't see each other at all. I was working 6, sometimes 7 days a week from like 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. just, working nonstop.
Yeah,
nonstop.
He was working a lot. And I, in my head, was like, and mind you, we moved in February of 2021, and I am 6 months pregnant with twins, and then we have our twins 6 weeks early in April, and they're in the NICU for a whole month, and at this point we have 4 kids under the age of 4, and he's working 12-hour days. I mean, he took a little bit of a breather there while we were having the twins,
right?
But needless to say, it was just chaos. And in my head, I actually like thrived that first year, I feel like, on my own. Because I just was like, I'm going to take the kids everywhere. This is going to be great. I was made for this, blah, blah, blah. I was feeling confident, I was feeling great. When the twins got out of the NICU, it was like they were already on a 4-hour, like they would only wake up every 4 hours, and they were on the same schedule. And, I mean, obviously it was hard, and I cried a lot and whatever, but for the most part, I was like, for what what our situation is, we're handling it pretty well.
Right.
And I also, in the back of my head, was like, it's all okay. Like, when you start a business, this is how it goes. You have to work so hard for years before finally it pays off. And so I was like, one day it's going to pay off. We're going to have the freedom where he doesn't have to work this much, and he can help me homeschool the kids, and it's all going to be just this magical picture, right? So then fast forward, and he calls me.
Well, I guess let's back up a little bit too and kind of get my perspective on it, right? So I mean, you were with the kids 24/7, and I was gone 24/7. And let's just say I had no idea how to run a business. I was working my butt off, and I was getting these jobs, and I was doing them myself. It was me, your dad, and my brother, and we were just going at it.
And keep in mind, my dad and his brother, my dad has woodworking experience, and his brother had a little bit of experience, but
right.
Waylon was basically teaching them how to do everything.
Yeah.
Or a lot of things,
and
I should say.
And so, I mean, I was busy, and in my mind, from what I thought I knew about business, is I'm growing. Like I'm getting new employees, I'm getting bigger jobs. I'm growing, and because I'm growing, I'm not bringing in what I think I need to be bringing in because all the money's going towards the growth, and so I need to take out a loan, right, to help me with this growth. So I'm like,
that's what you do.
That's what you do when you run a business. You take out a loan to grow. So I took out a loan. All right, I'm growing, and then it's like, oh no, I'm running out of money in the bank. Okay, I got a deposit from this other job. I wasn't keeping track of my finances. I wasn't like, okay, this money goes to this job. I wasn't checking my profit percentages. I thought I was succeeding because I was growing and I was taking bigger jobs. And he was getting
really good reviews.
My clients loved me. Yeah, I was getting good reviews, and so I was oblivious. And I don't know if a part of it was just me just not knowing or me not wanting to know. I was just oblivious to the fact that maybe my business wasn't as successful as I thought it was.
Or
right?
hoped it was.
Was. Yeah.
And at this point in our marriage, I didn't know anything about the finances.
Yeah.
he would often make Excel spreadsheets or new budgets, but we never stuck to them. We never followed them. We would sit down and he would tell me stuff and I'd be like, sure, great, cool, that sounds good. And then I'd go spend whatever I wanted to spend. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like so when he was taking out loans, he was like, well, this is for my business. Ashlyn doesn't even know what's like going on with our finances anyways.
We were definitely separate in that aspect. Like my business was my business and I never involved her in any of the finances in that. And then we never really connected on our personal finances either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, everything would just go into one bank and then we would just spend whatever we wanted. And then occasionally we would get together and be like, we should budget. Mm-hmm. And then we'd build a budget and then we wouldn't follow it. And that was basically
right.
how our finances went for the first 8 years of our marriage. Yep. And so then in December of 2022, 2 weeks before Christmas, he calls me and he goes, I think that I need to close my business. And I was like shocked because I was like, wait, what? I'm like, why? Because at this point in my head, I was like, you're growing. You keep saying that like next year it's going to get better and we're only going to go up from here. And like, I was buying Christmas gifts like months before this and I would text him and be like, hey, can you transfer this money? Do we have this money so I can buy this or whatever? And he'd be like, oh yeah, I need to transfer it. And I'm like, great. And I had no clue what was even in his business account. I didn't know what money I didn't know. I was just asking like, okay, great. And so when he called me, it just caught me so off guard because I was like, wait,
yeah. Well, and keep in mind too, so it was about a month before I called you that I had started to actually fully understand like I may be in trouble. And that's when I for the first time in my business, actually sat down and like crunched the numbers and looked at it holistically. And I think I was at the point where I could not keep cash flowing from jobs that haven't happened yet to support the jobs I was doing now. And it all just kind of came to a halt in December. It all came crumbling down. And so I was actually really stressed 4 weeks before even telling you, like, yeah, I don't know if this is actually going to work. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I thought I was doing everything right, but it's not working, and I'm not making the money I need to, and I can't pay the loans that I got out, and I felt like that was the start of what was going to be probably one of the hardest moments of my life. Was, I think, telling you and coming to that realization for myself that I was actually in trouble.
And I think I was like in a little bit of denial when he was telling me, because I was thinking like, I've just spent the last 2 years basically being a single mom because one day you were going to have this business that was going to be flexible and we were going to be able to do whatever we wanted. So what do you mean? Like, no, like we'll figure it out. Maybe we could do, and he just kept saying, no, I need to go get a full-time job. We got to close the business down. And I didn't even know the full extent of it at that point. Mm-hmm. He had told me like a little bit. I
didn't even know the full extent, to be honest.
He had told me like, well, I don't know if he told me on this phone call or if it was later, but like I discovered that he had a job, a $20,000 job that he had taken a deposit from that he didn't even have the money anymore to finish the job. And I didn't realize that all our credit cards were maxed out. He had taken out business loans. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so then I was like, all right, well, we've got to do something because you can't just not finish a job or not pay somebody back for a job that they've done. And we had just paid off our car, so we went in, we got our car refinanced, and so we were able to get that money. And then we borrowed money from a family member.
Well, that wasn't even, I mean, those two weren't even the hardest part. I mean, it was during Christmas, and that was, I think, probably one of the hardest things I had to experience was having to take back Christmas presents.
Yeah, because I told him, I said, we're sending back all this stuff. And he was so against it. He was like, no, we don't have to do that. We can figure it out. And I was like...
And looking back now, it's like our kids were so young. Our kids were like they wouldn't remember it anyway. And so looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was the right thing to do, right?
Yeah, they were all 4 and under. And we had bought a bunch of stuff that I was like, we don't need this. Yeah. And so I was like, no, we're sending it all back. So, yeah, we started shipping all the presents back, taking all the presents back. And yeah, that was a little, like a little gut punch of like, this sucks. And we refinanced our car. We borrowed money from a family member. And
the money that we borrowed from a family member was strictly to finish the jobs that I currently had going on. I wanted to make right with all my customers, and we did. We made right with all of my customers. We got to a point where I could actually breathe again. But I feel like from that point, from the moment I called you till
I didn't spend a dime.
probably March of the next year, I had this just pit in my stomach. I just felt so low. Yeah. I never felt that in my life.
And from the moment you called me, it was like, I cannot spend any more money. Because even if I visually saw money in the account, it was like, he has a $20,000 job he has to finish with this money. That where is it going to come from? Like, I can't have him not finish a job, and all our credit cards are maxed out and blah, blah, blah. And so... And I was like, we're not taking out more loans. We're not doing... I don't even know if we could have. We ended up getting the loan for the RV when we bought that, but I don't know...
We did, yeah.
I don't know what personal loan... I don't know. But we were
just a lot of it was through my business. They were business loans. And so you were able to personally...
Yeah.
So...
Oh, yeah, because you couldn't be on the...
Because I couldn't be on it, yeah.
But in my head, from that moment on, it was like, we are not spending any more money. And so I didn't even buy food. And luckily at this time, so a few years ago, we were in college and we had gotten on WIC. And then when COVID hit, for some reason, it was a state of emergency for years after that, and they didn't kick anybody off. So we still had WIC at the time, I'm pretty sure. And so I could go to the store and get like fruits and veggies and milk and certain things. But it still wasn't enough for a family of 6. Right. And so I'm trying to remember. Yeah. And I was used to like making a bunch of stuff. But like you can't get like flour. There's only very specific foods you can get on WIC. And so I couldn't get like flour or butter or all these things that like I was used to making bread and whatever. And so I remember sitting and kind of ranting to one of my neighbors at one point. And then her and her husband worked at Costco at the time, and they showed up on our porch on Christmas Eve with this whole thing of like Costco food of chicken and butter and flour and just all the things that I had been like, which when I was telling her, I wasn't like, oh, please help me get it. It was just kind of a moment of just like,
need someone to talk to.
I just needed to vent to somebody.
Yeah.
And so that was just like I don't know, it felt like a Christmas miracle. And then on top of that, my sister and her husband and then my brother and his wife like ended up bringing us over like gifts, because they knew that we had taken back all of our presents from Christmas. And there was just so many people that just like came to the rescue and helped us so much during that time. But he like immediately started applying for full-time jobs, and he just knew that he was going to have to work full-time while finishing his other jobs on the side. So
December, I think I told, it was like mid-December is when you first found out. And then from that point on, I started applying, and within a week I got tons of interviews. And I would go to interviews, and when I wasn't going to interviews, I was finishing my jobs, and I was just bouncing back and forth. And so I actually got a job offer in Springville, and I was pretty dead set on taking it. And I go into this a little bit too in the last podcast. I don't know which one's going to come out first, but the last podcast. But I got another interview opportunity up in Heber, Utah, and so I went to interview there. Honestly, didn't even know I applied to interview there, but I went and I'm like, okay, let's just do it. I already got this job offer, but I'm just going to go see what they have to offer. Went there, interviewed, absolutely had a great feeling about it. The interview went very well, and I remember calling Ashlyn after and just being like, I feel like
kind of already talked about this one.
We did, yeah. Just like, and so I mean, long story short, I ended up getting the job up in Heber, and that actually turned out to be actually a really big blessing because of our living situation.
Yeah, and so if you want to listen to Living in a Fifth Wheel episode, we go way more into depth about our experience living in a fifth wheel or whatever. But as part of this getting out of debt series, we bought a fifth wheel, moved into a fifth wheel in April of
Sold
20.
everything we owned.
Yeah, we literally had an
couches.
we had an indoor garage sale, and we posted it and had just a ton of people come walking through our house, like buying stuff. I got so sick of posting stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I never wanted to post anything
To this
ever
day,
again.
to this day, you still dread it.
I hate it so much because I spent just like weeks selling stuff on, and my kids destroying my house. I had no idea what was going to hit me when my twins started to be mobile. That first year, like I said, I was thriving. All of a sudden they became mobile, and I thought I got hit with a train. I was dying. And I think also just the stress of the financial situation on top of them being mobile and kind of just wrecking everything and trying to move and then all the things.
And I mean, if we're being honest, during this time, I mean, the stress of the finances and the stress of everything and the kids and I mean, it took a toll on us, on our marriage, for sure.
Yeah.
It really tested our marriage and us and our ability to move forward, right?
Yeah. I mean, we avoided each other for months.
Yeah.
And when we couldn't avoid each other, we were fighting because I think there had been this like bridge that had just collapsed and we couldn't figure out how to rebuild it for a long time.
I just don't feel like, I mean, and the thing is, I just don't feel like that bridge was really even fully built to begin with. Because, I mean, we were never fully aligned on finances. We were never, and I mean, I was working 24/7. You were, on your own with the kids 24/7. I mean, we really never really had that full relationship for.
Yeah,
so
it was a lot. So then, the other piece of this was, so after my friend had brought me all that food, I was talking to another friend just about like, oh my gosh, we're literally just eating canned food out of our pantry and whatever. And she was like, you need to talk to your bishop because they have a bishop storehouse. And in the LDS church, they have like these places called the bishop storehouse where you can go and get assistance on food. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was another like really low point for us because we just don't like asking for help and we feel like, we like to be independent. But at this point it was like, what do our kids need? It wasn't about us.
Right.
So we went in and we talked to our bishop about our situation. And at this time we lived in townhomes and everybody in the townhomes were basically our age. And so our bishop was like not that much older than us, and it felt almost like we were telling a peer, and it was humiliating, to be honest.
It was. We asked the bishop for the bishop storehouse for the food assistance, and then also I went in and talked to the bishop about helping us pay our rent. Even for the last couple months, we were paying rent before we moved, and that was hard for me. That was extremely hard for me to do, and very, very humble, humiliating, I guess I should say,
and humbling,
yeah.
It was really hard, and even like paying for gas, like I remember at Christmas we ended up getting cash from a few different people, and then we got like a $200 Visa card that Christmas. Mm-hmm. And all of that just went towards paying for gas because
just the necessities, just what we needed to survive, right?
And then I would drive to Bishop Storehouse, and how it worked is I would have to meet with the Relief Study president, and she'd ask me what we needed. They had like a list of food that they had available there. I'd have to say what we wanted or needed, and then I'd have to drive and go pick it up. And there's people there that like, hi, welcome, and like are so nice, but you're sitting there just like, I don't know, feeling like at the bottom, like you're just like, oh my gosh, like here these people are, and I have these 4 kids in the car right now, or I have to drag these 4 kids in here, and then these people help you shop for the things that are on your list, and it is just a really humbling experience, to say the least. So I did that for a few months, and then when we eventually, like, he started his job in January and we started getting paychecks from that, and so after we got caught up on things a little bit and we moved to the trailer, we were finally able to like be done with those things.
Right. I don't feel like I ever truly felt like I could even breathe even an ounce until after all my side jobs, the business jobs were fully done, which I think was like end of February is when we finished. So we went through January, February. Oh no, yeah, February.
Are you sure it wasn't March?
No, they went into March. You're right. Because April is when we moved into the trailer.
Yeah.
So it was just before we moved into the trailer that I finished.
Yeah, because you were, and Heber was an hour from where we lived, and this was during the worst winter like Utah has had in years. It snowed so much, and he had to drive all the way up the. It was
I would drive from hour. Yeah, it was over an hour. I would drive from Saratoga Springs all the way up the canyon, and I would work overtime any extra hours I could put in, I would put in. I'd help. At the end of the day, I'd help assemble desks and just little things that weren't even part of my like job description, just to like get extra money to just help us. And then I'd drive all the way back down the canyon, and with the couple hours I'd have left, I'd go finish my jobs. Try
to do some jobs, and then he would work weekends. Yep. And it took, bless the people who he was doing jobs for at that time.
They were very patient.
It took him a lot longer than it normally would have.
Yeah.
And those people probably definitely didn't know the whole situation, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, we then moved into the trailer in April, and like we said, we sold all of our stuff, and we just very much were in this mindset of we need to get it together, and we need to work our butts off, and we need to not spend money, and I don't know, kind of make the best of it. And like we said, we fought a lot. And it took a long time to rebuild those bridges, but that was also, I also decided I was going to run a marathon in the middle of all of that. And bless all my neighbors and my sister and my parents and everybody who watched my kids so many times so I could train. But in February of that year, so he called me in December. He started working full time in January. And in February, I decided I was going to start training for a marathon. So I had to go on runs multiple times a week. A lot of times I would wake up at 5 a.m. or do it like late after he got home, or I would have my sister watch him or my neighbor watch him, and I would go for runs. And truly, I think it kept me sane. I think that a training for that like helped clear my head during that time, and I am truly grateful for that. And so yeah, I trained for that, ran my marathon in June, and then right after my marathon was over, I was like, I need to get a job. And mind you, I had 4 kids under the age of 5, and I was also homeschooling. Like, none of them were going to school soon. I mean, I could have sent one of them to school, but it wouldn't have made a difference anyways, because I still would have had 3 kids at home. Yeah. And I just decided I need to get a job. I'm going to find a way to get a job, whether it's working from home, but we lived in a trailer and didn't have internet or any of that, or I was like, we'll find a way. And so I went into the gym just to see how much a membership costs, and I learned they were hiring for their daycare. And so I said, can I apply for this? And they were like, yeah. And they almost gave me an interview. Like, they called. On the spot. Yeah, they were like, like, we'll do an interview like tomorrow or something. Like, it was were desperate. So fast. And I was like, amazing. And so I started working at the gym, and I would take all 4 of my kids to the daycare, and I worked as many shifts as I possibly could. I feel like I lived there. There was, I think, 8 or 9 shifts total, and I worked 7 or 8 every week. I was you worked a lot, and then
photography on the side. You were doing that still, and
yeah, and then
it was a lot.
I was doing photography on the side, and then at one point I started cleaning the gym. So I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I would stay late, and I would clean the gym after it closed. And then they switched me to front desk at one point, and the gym opened at 5 a.m. and so I had to be there at 4:45. So I'd wake up at like 4:15 a.m. And then I would go, and I would get terrible sleep because I'm the type of person who's constantly scared I'm going to be late if I have to wake up early. And so I'd wake up 50 times a night, and then I'd wake up at 4:15 and I'd get ready and I'd have to get to the gym by 4:45, and I was the only one that opened. So if I didn't show up, the gym didn't open that day. Yeah. So I was like constantly in this panic. I at one point was a gymnastics coach. Which that's
for a week or two, right?
Yeah, I only did it a few times, but that's the funniest thing to me is I was like, wow, I was that desperate. But I just went into this gymnastics facility and I was like, can I do social media for you? Can I do this? And they were like, can you coach? And I was like, I've never done gymnastics a day in my life. I know nothing about it. And they were like, that's okay, we can teach you. And I was like, to coach? Like, what? I was like, all right. So he gave me this huge binder of all these different activities. It was for like 5 and 6 year olds or something. And he gave me this binder of all these things I could like learn and look through, and like different techniques and wording. And I did it a few times, and then I told Waylon, I'm like, I am so embarrassed doing this because you can tell these parents are looking at me going, you have absolutely no clue what you're doing. And
at that point, because I was working 2 jobs. I had gotten a second job as well. I was working my main job. You were working the daycare, plus you were doing photography. At that point, I think we're at a place, because that was a little later into the year. I think by May, I we started feeling like we could breathe a little. By June and July, it felt a little better. At that point, you didn't absolutely need to do that, right?
Well, I think it was because there was such a fire lit under us.
The whole time. For the whole year and a half, we didn't eat out once that year.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't go out to eat. Everything was made from scratch. Didn't eat anything expensive. We didn't do anything expensive. For entertainment with our kids,
went out to eat 5 times, and it was for social reasons that entire year. Where the year previous, like when Waylon was working construction, he was going out to eat like 1 or 2 times a day. I would almost say
way too much.
And now, now he's like, literally, we didn't go out to eat.
Oh yeah. We didn't go out to eat. All our entertainment was going to the local park with the kids, or I don't know. We hang out at the property and do fires
and fight each other.
We didn't spend a dime on anything that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was locked down hard.
And then Waylon tell him about your second job.
Yeah, so I found a second job working evenings, putting up and taking down signs for home companies, like
when new homes would be built.
Yeah, it's just like the new home builders, and so it's signs that directed people to the new homes and the showrooms and things like that. And so I just go through all around Heber, taking those signs down and putting them up and moving them around.
You had to stake these signs into like snow and frozen ground.
Oh yeah,
and
it'd be like
freezing.
It'd be like 20 degrees outside, and I'd be out there with the hammer trying to chisel out the ice so that I could put the stake into the ground and put the. Yeah, we were busy at that time.
Well, and I think that's how we were able to do it so fast. Because the thing was I making a ton at the gym? No, I was making like $12 an hour. I was not making some significant amount of money, but it was time where I wasn't like sitting at home having a pity party, wondering like I'm just gonna go spend money
scrolling Amazon.
Yeah, scrolling Amazon or Instagram where I see ads and I want to buy things and I'm feeling sorry for myself. It was like, we're gonna get to work, and because the thing is like people are probably thinking like, oh well, you charge so much for photo sessions, why didn't you just do that? And it was like, well, I can only get so many photo sessions, and also like you think about one photo session, it's like, geez, that's how much I made in like, I don't know, 2 weeks at the gym.
Which, true.
I mean, which honestly is impressive because the gym, I worked so many hours that I was making like $1,000 a month at one point.
Right.
But yeah, it was like, I don't know, being able to have coworkers and talk to people and not just be having a pity party at home, I think really saved me. And I loved my coworkers. I ended up like, honestly, part of me was like, that was fun having coworkers again and being able to just chat with them every day and my kids were always there, so I would sit and read them books. And some shifts, like a lot of kids didn't show up, so then I could sit and do some of the homeschool stuff with my oldest, or so it was such a blessing to be able to do that job. And I think a lot of times we get stuck in our head of like, well, I don't want my kids to go to daycare, or I want to be the one to raise my kids, and I can't find a job or whatever. And it's like, there's always a way. Like, if you want it bad enough, like, you'll find a way. If you get to the point where you can't feed your kids and you have to take their Christmas presents back, you find a way.
And I feel like at that time in our lives, and we've talked about this too, like I feel like we were on autopilot. Oh, we were just moving. We were just working. Sure. I look back now and I'm like, how did we do that? Like, how did we go like that nonstop, not spending any money on anything that wasn't necessary? Like,
there were literal angels on the other side, like, helping us, because I seriously think about that too, because I think about doing that now and I'm like, I'm tired just thinking about it.
I think we're still tired from this experience, and that was a while ago.
But actually, on that same note, I do truly believe, even from the day he called me, I remember one of the first things I told him is, we will not stop paying our tithing.
Right.
And I said that to him. I said, and it in our church, and obviously, like, from the Bible, and if you're not familiar with tithing, we pay 10% every month, and there's a lot of, I don't know.
Which 10% when you're not making anything is not much, but
yeah. But
it became a lot when we started working a lot, right?
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot of controversy, obviously, behind that whole thing, but at least for me in my life and my experience, like, we never stopped paying it, and I think it really helped keep us in the mindset of, like, we are in control of this, and we're going to do something about it, and also kept us feeling like, okay, we are able to give this to help other people. We also knew the blessings that came from other people paying their tithing and from paying, like, because we went and the bishop helped pay for our rent and it helped us with food, and a lot of that comes from tithing. So we had experienced firsthand the blessings of that. Right. And so
on a physical aspect, not even like, even if you take the spiritual aspect out of it, like, from a physical aspect, it's such a great tool to be able to help those around you. And we were talking about this in the car as well on the way here. I feel like changing your mind, being able to give, and whether it's tithing or whether it's through other means, like, it really changes your mindset about money and about what it's used for. And I feel like I grew up thinking, like, oh, like, I make money so I can have this materialistic thing, or I can to help me to better myself, and to, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like, material things aren't bad. Bettering yourself isn't bad. But I feel like us paying our tithing constantly and seeing the blessings that came from tithing, helping us in our situation, really changed my perspective on that. And I was able to see money in a different way. Like, okay, I can use money to better myself and those around me, and utilize it as a tool to just overall, like, help the world become a better place, right?
Yeah. So. And I think there is that biblical, like, tithing is biblical, and I think that as we follow God's teachings, like, we will be blessed, and maybe not, like, right now or in the ways, like, it's not like, oh, you're magically gonna get your bills paid or anything like that.
You still have to put in the work, right?
You still have to put in the work and have action behind it, but I just felt so strongly about that, and we never missed. Well, first of all, when this all happened, we finally stuck to a budget. We
created a budget, my crappy Excel spreadsheet budget, and we built one, and we did not miss a single month.
For 2 years. And that was the first thing we always did, was we would pay our tithing, and then the rest of it would follow. And we stuck to it for 2 years. I mean, at the beginning it was easy because our budget was don't spend any money.
Yeah. It's like, all right, we need $50 a person per month for food, and all right, that's it.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that part of it for a minute. Okay, so then in July of 20, okay, no, back up. In May of 2023, like the year this was all going down and we had just moved into the trailer, I have always, and this is going to be weird for me to talk about because I don't necessarily want to do a whole episode or go into a ton of detail about this, but I have always had a desire to be a surrogate. Or a gestational carrier. I had a friend when I was 10 years old whose mom was one. And it's always, when I was pregnant with my first, I had these thoughts of being one, but I wasn't done having my own kids, so I was like, not yet, obviously. And then after I had my twins, and then after this happened, it just kept getting louder, this voice of like doing it. And I also knew that like we were in a financial situation, and this was the time when it could like bless us more than just me knowing I wanted to do this, right? And so I started applying to agencies, and I just didn't feel right about it. I felt like I just want to meet somebody, and I'll be open to the idea if I do. And then in July of that year, about a couple months later, or a couple weeks later, because I had been applying for a little bit, and then a couple weeks later, we met some people, and I ended up being a gestational carrier for them. So that, because it involves other people, I don't want to go into like specific numbers. Normally I'm a pretty open book. I do, for the sake of the story, want to say that because it was a personal, it wasn't through an agency, and it was on a personal level, I wasn't making what you would typically make as a gestational carrier.
Well, and let's be clear too. Like, and we had talked about this quite a bit before we had decided to do this, and we both had agreed that this was not going to be financially motivated. Yeah. We were going to do this strictly. I mean, obviously, like that was part of it, but we wanted to help someone. We wanted to make a difference, and I. So we both with this couple, we went through the whole process for, let's see, we met them in July of 2023, and then the transfer happened in May of 2024. So it was almost a full year before anything even like was real. And then I was pregnant for 9 months after that. But I bring that up because obviously it's a huge part of us getting out of debt, because it was like a good chunk of money, even if it wasn't the typical amount. I don't know how to say that without making it sound weird. Yeah. But it was what we had all agreed upon, and it was, anyways, it was a blessing for both parties. Yeah. And it ended up working out so well. But yeah, I went through, so then I was a gestational carrier, and then that same year in 2024, and I will say my pregnancy was not what I expected it to be, and it was actually a lot harder. And so another blessing that happened was Utah ended up coming out with this scholarship for homeschoolers. And it's called the Utah Fits All Scholarship, but 2024 was the first year they decided to do it. And that year they ended up giving all the people who got it $8,000 each to go towards their homeschooling. And at this point, my two oldest were old enough, and because my pregnancy was harder than I expected it to be, I was so stressed because I was like, I don't feel comfortable sending them to public school right now, but I also like am not in a good place to homeschool them. And so with that money, we were able to send them to a micro school. And then we were also they were able to do gymnastics and ballet and soccer and other things. They were able to get into their activities and do things like that.
And
so
I
that
didn't
was
have
actually
to
really
feel
helpful.
like, oh, this is like, I didn't have to have them not do those things because we were trying to get out of debt.
Right.
And so, and even before that, we had them in ballet, and I would go and clean the ballet studio to get credits to pay for their ballet. And we were just constantly trying to find ways to just
anything we
save
could.
Anything.
To save, to make, to spend less, just everything.
So I feel like it just,
over time, I feel like it was really hard that first year, but that second year, 2024, I feel like it just became part of our life. Like, it just became normal to live that way. And I felt like 2024 was so much easier than 2023 because of that. And we were in a spot where we didn't have to worry about money as much. We weren't living, at the tight squeeze that we were living in 2023. So 2024 actually felt a lot better, but it just became normal.
Well, and
it's just part of what we did.
So ready to be out of debt.
Yeah.
We always talk about this, how we were like, had we not experienced that, I think we would still be in debt to this day.
Our habits wouldn't have changed, right?
Yeah, because we would have had no reason to change them, because we were living fine before, but we had student loans, we had car loans, we had whatever, we had all those things, and it wasn't a big deal. We were like, well, this is what everybody has. This is normal. Like, you're supposed to have this. What do you mean? And so when it all hit, the fan, we were like, we're gonna make a change, and we're gonna do it fast. And so we just got to work and stopped spending money. And then so I became a surrogate. Then we finally moved out of the trailer in October of 2024, because I had told Waylon, I was like, I'm not about to give birth to this baby
I didn't fight that one bit.
In a trailer and recovering from giving birth in a trailer. It ain't gonna happen. So we moved into an Airbnb that winter. And then in February, I gave birth, and I kid you not, the day I got out of the hospital, we went and looked at a house in Orem.
We found the house while you were still in the hospital and called them and got everything figured out. The day you left, we went down, looked at the house.
And I waddled into that house, and I was like, sorry, I just gave birth 2 days ago.
Crazy.
And we looked at the house. It had this huge yard, and it had exactly what we felt like we needed at the time. And so we signed a lease, and we moved into that in March of 2024, and we moved in officially debt free. And it was
2020
so expensive to move
2025
again.
Not 2024.
Yeah, sorry.
2025 we moved in.
Yeah, 2025 we moved in. And I mean, moving is just expensive, but we had so many blessings moving into that house, because we were finally debt free, but we did not have like a ton of extra money savings at the time. Yeah. Because we were like, we don't have furniture. We don't have anything. We didn't have plates. We were
living in a trailer. We had sold everything, and then we were going to sell the trailer. So we literally had nothing except for a few boxes of toys and clothes that we had in the shop.
We didn't even really have like pots and pans or like the right dishes, or we had been using paper plates for years. We were like, oh my gosh. So we got so lucky that he had a coworker that ended up.
So our company, it's always been two separate companies that were at that business. One of them moved up to Idaho, so he was moving up to Idaho to work for that company, and so downsizing. So he was getting rid of all his stuff.
So he gave us free
bunk
couches,
beds,
a free bunk bed, a free table and chairs, a free.
So many things.
Oh my gosh, so many things, and then.
And they were good. Like, they weren't run down. It was nice furniture.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. And then we had an old couple in our ward that were moving into a home, and
they did a yard sale. Yeah.
They did a yard sale, and we got bookshelves and couches and a treadmill and so many things from that. For a really, really good deal. And I don't know how it all just came together, but we got 3 rugs for like $10. We seriously, when we moved into our house and set everything up, I just looked around and was like, how did we get all what just happened? Our life dramatically changed from trailer to, like, I don't know how it happened so smoothly. A lot of people buy furniture. People are just giving it away. Yeah. No kidding. But so all the stars aligned, everything. It was a crazy time. But we lived in that house for 6 months, and then we ended up moving to where we live now. And we didn't expect to live in 3 different places in 1 year, but we did. And moving is so expensive. But we were able to do that all out of debt. And I can't even begin to explain the peace that you feel knowing that that money is your money and you did that. And we could pay the deposit and the extra month's rent and all the things all like without.
Well, and I mean, through this whole process, we were able to develop the tools and the know-how to be able to work as a team, to budget together, to save money correctly. I felt so much more confident going into that house in 2025 with a clear plan. Like, hey, like we know what we're doing now. We know how to do this to where we never get in this situation again, right?
Yeah.
So.
And Waylon touched on it a little bit, obviously, and we're not going to, like, lie about our relationship during that time. Like, it was rough, and it almost came to an end, like, a few times. It was not good. But we look back on that, and we, like, getting through that and getting to where we are now is just, like, you don't even understand how deep love can go, and I just can't even imagine 50 years from now where our relationship will be and what we'll have gone through. And I cannot help but think about like that scripture that talks about the refiner's fire and how like God he's cutting us down to build us up, right? And like he's not doing these things to us or whatever. He's trying to help us become better and to be the people that we're meant to be to fulfill this purpose in life. And I just cannot think of all the lessons we learned through that experience. And I've really pondered on the thing of like, would I change it if I could, or would I go back?
We talk about this all the time.
And it's like, I don't know that I would, because I feel like we would be like we're in a better place now than I think we would have been had
if
we
none
not
of that
experienced
happened.
that.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
We needed that refiner's fire. Yeah. That was something we needed in our life, and yes, it almost broke us, but in the end, like I agree. And again, like we talk about this all the time now. We feel like that is one of those moments in our lives that really brought us together in a way that we never probably would have otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So.
And it did break us, and then it built us even better.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, this was very therapeutic to go through, and I mean, we've talked about this endlessly.
Okay, so yeah, I don't share this stuff, and I never have. Like, this is the first time I feel like I've ever really shared this in like a public setting or even in a private setting, to be honest. I was very much closed off. There was a lot of shame and that came with, and baggage that came with, you know, everything that happened on my end. And I'm very private in my personal life as it is. And so sharing this publicly is not something I want to do. But we did talk about, when we did move into the new house, we did talk about wanting to eventually share this experience with others. I think the goal is to help people that may be in the same situation or a similar situation, give them the hope that, hey, this is possible. It's going to take work. It's going to be hard, but it's something that anybody can get through, right?
And 2 years are going to pass whether you make the best of it or not.
Right.
And you would be shocked at how fast 2 years actually goes, because I'm like, I can't believe that was that long ago. Like, it feels like a blip in our life. And
not in the moment it
I mean, to be fair, my nervous system is still recovering.
Yeah.
But we really hope that this can help people feel less alone if they're experiencing something similar. I feel like there was a lot of, before this happened and while we were running our businesses, we had so many like neighbors and friends be like, well, Ashlyn and Waylon are just so rich, and like assume that we were so well off because we owned our own businesses, and little did they know we were like drowning in I mean, I think that's what's also hard about sharing all this, is we do know that like there are people in our lives that we didn't open up about this at that time who probably are going to be like, we would have helped you, you know, why didn't you tell us? Or like, we even have family members that don't know this story yet. Yeah. And
very, very few people know the extent of what happened. I think most people just thought that we were crazy and wanted to go live in a trailer for 2 years.
Yeah. And to be fair, I am crazy and did want to live in a trailer for 2 years.
It's true.
But yeah, I think there was a piece where we left a lot of that out, and obviously, like, I don't feel like we needed to share that. I don't even feel like we need to share it now, but it is something that I do hope, blesses people's lives and gives them kind of the, like, oh, we can do this.
The strength to keep moving.
Yeah.
Because, it's hard. It takes a lot of work, and it's so easy there's so many times when we had the opportunity in the middle of this to just be like, we're in an okay place. Let's just give up. We don't need to get to that 100% out of debt. Like, we don't need to get to that point. We're at a point where we can survive. Let's just, but we didn't. We kept moving forward, and we kept pushing for those 2 years. And I'm so happy that we, pushed through that and got to this point where we're at now. Yeah.
Yeah. And we still got a long way to go. I mean, we're still renting because why our house is $5 million. but I am so happy because now I can see the bigger picture, and and knowing that anything we're buying is with our money. We have an emergency fund. If one of our cars were to break down or if something were to happen, we could take care of it. We wouldn't have to take out a credit card. It is just such a...
Well, just looking into the future too, like what is retirement going to look like? All these things, like, we don't have to. Oh, I mean, obviously we're still in the thick of it. Like, we're still working to buy a house and stuff, but it's the peace that comes from that is unlike any other. And I mean, they say it's very well known, like, one of the hardest things on a marriage is finances, right? One of the leading causes of divorce is finances. And so not having that weighing on our marriage is something that can't be described with words.
Yeah. So. And I would just like to say that also budgeting together.
Yes.
And doing that as a team builds your marriage up more than you think, like, oh, like, who cares? I think it's so important for couples to make those decisions together. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned earlier, I was never part of the finances before. And being able to make goals and figure out where your money goes in order to meet those goals, right, and figure out what kind of people you want to be, what kind of home you want to run, what kind of life you want your kids to have, whether you want to save up money for them for college or missions or for them to buy a house one day or what you want to do with that. It's so life-giving for your marriage, and I just really encourage people to combine finances and budget together every month. And yeah, so
I agree. Hold each other accountable too. Help each other stick to the budget, because it's not always easy. You get in those moments where you're like, I'm hungry. I don't want to make food. I just want to DoorDash, or I just want to eat out, or there's so many things, and having that person by your side that can help you stay accountable and help. Okay, no, like, we can make spaghetti. That's an easy thing, and that's just a small example, but having that person next to you to help you achieve the goals that you guys have made together is amazing. So.
Yeah, actually, I realized we missed a huge part of our story.
What was that?
We did file bankruptcy on your business.
Oh yeah, that was huge. Yeah, that is big.
Just
we got, yes. So I would say,
talk about that.
So 138,000. How much of that?
135.
By the time 135. By the time, because there's, like, we got to a point where it's like I had like 6 different loans out. There was no way. We were drowning.
Well, and to be fair, we could have, like, obviously you could, but we were at a point where we just decided that was what's going to be best. And so So we
bankrupt just the business. It affected me. It did not affect Ashlyn in any way. Yeah. And so that took our total debt down to 85. Yes, yeah. 85. And then from there, we just chipped away at that 85, and in 2 years, we got out of the 85. Thank you for bringing that up. That puts things into perspective a little better.
I realized, I'm like, wait, that's actually a big part of the...
Still, I mean, that too is just a part that I still just have a hard time with, but I did not want to do that.
And obviously that's affected, like, the bankruptcy is still on his record and all the things. And now we completely got out of debt, and we are very much, I think that's also a big part of why we don't have a house yet and whatever is because we closed all of our lines of credit. So both of us, my credit's undeterminable, I'm pretty sure.
Mine is too.
Yeah, I think both of ours is undeterminable at this point. And so obviously that makes getting a house a lot more difficult because you have to manually underwrite or pay in cash or go
save
about
up,
it.
have a bigger down payment, which...
Yeah, so you have to have a much larger down payment, all those things. But we just, because of our experience and...
because of how debt negatively affected our lives, that we just decided that we just don't want to go down that road anymore,
and
right?
We might go into debt for a house one day, but other than that, unless obviously some crazy thing happens, we just want to avoid it at all costs, and we can drive beater cars and we can whatever. We don't need to have fancy cars and fancy whatever.
One day we will.
Yeah. But it will be in cash.
It'll be in cash, yes.
And I'm actually going to do a whole episode with one of my friends about my thoughts on credit cards and all that. So you can get excited for that because we have very different opinions. But anyways, yeah, that gives you a little bit more context for why we moved into a trailer, kind of our journey over the past. You love the word journey.
Our journey.
He hates the
Our
word
mom
journey.
Your mom journey, your pregnancy journey.
Does
Everything's a journey.
Does anybody else hate that word, or is it just him? Can everyone tell him that it's just him? 'Cause he's like, why do we say
like,
that?
My motherhood journey. I'm like, no, you're just a mom. It's not
What's wrong with this journey?
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's weird to me.
Anyways, you know more of our story. And, yeah, thanks for listening. Do you have an opinion that you've changed?
Oh, yeah, I forgot we were doing that. Well, my opinion that I've changed is credit cards.
You don't use them anymore?
Don't use them anymore.
All right, well, thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys next week. Let's let some opinions change. Bye!